Hello there. Thanks for joining me this Saturday. I am Otto Othman and these are tonight's headlines. Malaysia to sue Goldman Sachs for $4.5 billion in damages. New B40 health insurance scheme to cover 36 major illnesses, not 4. Scores killed in blast at Afghan army base. The government is preparing a civil suit against banking firm Goldman Sachs Group Inc. to seek $4.5 billion in damages. This over the international banking firm's role in the misappropriation of funds from One Malaysia Development Berhad, 1MDB. Online portal Asia Time quoted anonymous source said Attorney General Tommy Thomas is currently drafting the suit, which will be filed in a United States court soon. The case will argue that Goldman's top management was aware of the fraud, including senior executives that will be charged in the criminal case by the U.S. Department of Justice, DOJ. It will also argue that senior Goldman executives were aware that procedures from the 3 1MDB bonds in 2012 were siphoned into a company, Abar BVI, which resembles a different company named Abar Investments, owned by the bond's guarantor, Abu Dhabi's International Petroleum Investment Company, IPIC. Earlier this week, it was reported that IPIC had sued Goldman for allegedly conspiring against the Middle Eastern Fund to further a criminal scheme by 1MDB. Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad said earlier this month that bankers at Goldman cheated Malaysia in dealings with 1MDB. The DOJ has said about $4.5 billion was misappropriated from 1MDB, including some money that Goldman Sachs helped raise from 2009 through 2014.
Seeking to forfeit and recover more than...
The government will expand the healthcare coverage under the National Health Protection Fund for the Low-Income Group, or B40, to cover 36 major critical illnesses. Finance Minister Lim Guan Eng said the scheme, which will be implemented in January 1st next year, would provide protection for the group should they fall sick and get admitted into a government hospital.
Untuk 36 penyakit kritikal, bukan untuk semua penyakit, tak ada. 36 penyakit kritikal, mereka boleh pohon RM50 setiap hari. Untuk tempoh maksimal 14 hari setahun, iaitu RM700 maksimal setiap tahun.
During the tabling of the 2019 budget, Lim initially announced that the scheme would only cover 4 major critical illnesses. He added that the scheme would be managed by Bank Negara and online applications will be available soon, as the central bank is in the midst of preparing the website. Meanwhile, MCA leaders have been warned not to use education as a political vengeance, as it will only victimize innocent students. Finance Minister Lim Guan Eng said he will take action against MCA if they are adamant to punish the students by increasing the tuition fees of both University Tunku Abdul Rahman, UTAR, and Tunku Abdul Rahman University College, TAR UC.
I think the principle there should be separation, or else today DAP set up a school. Tomorrow UMNO set up a school. Next day PAS. After that Amanah. After that Bersatu. Everyone also got to give. So I think there should be a principle there. So when we try to establish this principle, MCA is using the students to punish the students to hit back at me. I said, you want to hit back at me, hit back. I'm used to hit back. In fact, they are making a lot of personal attacks, printed widely in Hsinchu especially, where they make nasty personal attacks against me. I can accept that, but don't take it out on the students. You take it on the students, we will take action against MCA.
Speaking to the media at the Georgetown Literary Festival in Pulau Pinang, Lim also added that when the previous Barisan Nasional government reduced the allocation from 64.25 million to 30 million ringgit, MCA did not increase UTAR and TAR UC's tuition fees. The talks on raising the fees came after Lim, in his 2019 budget speech, had announced a 24.5 million ringgit cut to 5.5 million ringgit development fund for both MCA-owned institutions. Sarawak PKR Chief Baru Bian has alleged there were attempts to destabilize the party in the state over speculation of appointing a new chairman to replace him. He, however, stressed amid a speculation that he will not quit the party and are prepared to lead as PKR's chief in the state, a position he had held for 9 years. Baru, who is also Works Minister, said he agreed with PKR President Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim that the Sarawak PKR chief's appointment must be in accordance with the party constitution, where all branch chiefs must be consulted.
So it is not correct to say that it is the prerogative of the president, but it is according to the provision where you must consult all the Ketua Cabang of Sarawak. That's very clear, and that has been done before. So we will not depart from that. And I think this is one of the very important feature of the Constitution of Keadilan, giving an autonomy for Sabah and Sarawak.
There were talks that Baru might be replaced by Julao MP Laris Ng Wei Shin, who is also Julao PKR Division Chief, despite not receiving the green light from all branch chiefs in the state. Earlier this morning, Baru, who is also Selangor MP, received a rousing welcome by hundreds of PKR state leaders, members and supporters at the Kuching International Airport. On his arrival with his wife from Miri Sarawak, he was honored as paramount chief by the Orang Ulu community when they placed a special headgear on his head called the Lavong Pahlawan Maren Kayan. The decision by certain parties to continue holding an assembly to celebrate the government's rejection of the International Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination, ICERD, should be respected. Youth and Sports Minister Syed Abdul Rahman said it was the right of the citizens in the democratic country to hold the assembly, which has been scheduled for December 8th.
Itu hak mereka, tapi keputusan kabinet telah pun diputuskan, di mana kita putuskan secara konsensus, semua bersetuju untuk tidak menandatangani ICERD. Hak mereka kita tetap akan hormati.
When asked if the assembly was the opposition's political agenda ahead of the upcoming Rantau by-election, the MUA MP said the government had other issues to tackle. Yesterday, the government announced that it would not ratify ICERD, saying it would continue to uphold the federal constitution and the agreed-upon social contract enshrined within. PAS Deputy President Datuk Tuan Ibrahim Tuan Man, however, said UMNO and PAS would still participate in the December 8th assembly, which was initially organized to oppose the ratification of ICERD. The Health Department has ordered a company that sells product containing losartan to discontinue selling and supplying the item immediately. This follows the recall of products containing the valsartan and losartan active ingredient by the United States Food and Drug Administration (US FDA), which contains impurity NDEA. An international research on NDEA showed that it may cause cancer to consumer in the long run. Health Director General Dr. Noor Hisham Abdullah, in a statement, said the company, which was told to cease operation, was registered under the Health Department. Patients who are currently taking this medicine, however, should not stop consuming it and seek their respective doctors or health experts' advice. The valsartan and losartan active ingredient, mostly made available in tablets, is being used in treating high blood pressure patients. Dr. Noor Hisham also reminded the public to consume or purchase products that are registered under the drug control authorities. Three so-called invincible entertainment centers in the city were raided and sealed by the Kuala Lumpur City Hall, DBKL, for operating without a license. DBKL Enforcement Director Azman Mahmud said the three outlets were also found to operate beyond the permissible hours. Last night, DBKL raided 6 entertainment centers in Taman Shemalin Perkasa and Jalan Ampang and ordered 3 centers which have been operating without licenses for nearly 10 years to be sealed. 3 other centers were issued notices for various offences, including not displaying their business license. DBKL has also identified a number of entertainment outlets around the city centre said to have escaped raids in the past and vowed to conduct checks and operations regularly to put a check on such invincible centres. A Malaysian air steward has been jailed for 12 months for money laundering in Britain after he was caught trying to smuggle £150,000 sterling or over 800,000 ringgit in cash out of the country. The British National Crime Agency (NCA) reported that 37-year-old Muhammad Aziz had pleaded guilty to money laundering charges at the Isleworth Crown Court last Thursday. Now, the report said Muhammad Aziz was about to fly on a flight from London to Kuala Lumpur when he was stopped by security officers at Heathrow Terminal 4 Airport. The officer then had alerted Border Force personnel after they found £100,000 cash in a roller bag and £50,000 in a black suit carrier when they were scanning his bags. Muhammad Aziz claimed he had brought the money in from abroad into the UK as he had initially wanted to spend the money on handbags and watches in Harrods. He, however, claimed that he was unable to spend the money as he was too tired. In Selangor, a 31-year-old babysitter has been arrested in connection with a suspected abuse case involving 2 babies aged 5 months and 7 months in Kajang. According to police, the suspect was arrested in Kapar Klang at 5:45 p.m. today. In a statement, Selangor Criminal Investigation Department Chief SAC Fazil Ahmad said the suspect is being investigated under the Child Act for child abuse. The authorities have also recorded the statement of several individuals regarding the case. Checks at the nursery in Desa Saujana Kajang showed that it was closed today. One of the neighbors claimed she would often hear children crying from the nursery during the day.
Buatlah sebab sampai dengar sini buatlah. Sebab kalau waktu kecil macam ni memang sunyi je kan. Jadi jelaslah.
The matter came to light yesterday when the parents of the 4-month-old and 7-month-old babies lodged a police report of the alleged abuse. Suspecting their babies were abused, the parents requested the nursery owner to check the CCTV footage and found that one of the babysitters there slammed one of the victims on the floor and shook the same baby. Medical examination by doctors at the Putrajaya Hospital showed the babies had bruises in the neck and chest. In Sarawak, at least 350 people from Usek Longhouse in Sungai Kriok, Niah have been left homeless after a fire broke out this morning. According to Sarawak Fire and Rescue Department Operations Centre spokesman, the fire, which occurred at 8:50 a.m., had destroyed the entire longhouse, involving 37 doors. A team of 20 personnel from the Miri Fire and Rescue Station, Lopeng Station, and 7 men from Niah Volunteers Firefighters Unit were deployed to the scene as soon as they received the distress call at 8:52 a.m. Zone 6 Fire and Rescue Station Chief Superintendent Lau Po Kyong said about 350 villagers were left homeless, but no casualties were reported. The cause of the fire is currently under investigation. The longhouse is located some 100 kilometers from Miri. Now, over in Pulau Pinang, a man was burnt to death after pouring petrol on his mother-in-law and starting a fire at their house in Taman Chegar last night. The mother-in-law, who suffered 90% burns to her body, is being treated at the Penang hospital. Now, according to the deceased wife, 51-year-old S. David was in a drunken state when he had an argument with his mother-in-law, who was watching TV with her in the living room. He briefly disappeared and returned with a bottle of petrol, which he then poured over his mother-in-law's body. The man then lighted up a piece of paper, which he threw towards his mother-in-law, Aganasi Mary, aged 69, setting her on fire. His panicked wife then rushed his mother-in-law to the bathroom to douse the fire when they heard an explosion in the living room, prompting them to flee the house through the back kitchen door. The fire department, who put out the fire after 30 minutes, found David lying on the floor, dead. More after the break. Another eatery gets exposed over unhygienic practices. Details next. Welcome back. Let's move on with our daily segment Clickbait, where we take a look at what's trending and making rounds in the cyber world today. Now, after the last video of a restaurant with unhygienic practices went viral on social media, you'd think other eateries won't make the same mistake. Unfortunately, a user on Facebook by the name of Mikael exposed another disgusting habit by a famous seafood restaurant in Charterfield Commercial Center, KLIA. Here's what went wrong this time. In a 20-second video shared by Mikael, the restaurant's staff can be seen scaling a fish on a platform built above a drain at the back entrance before cooking and serving it to the customers. Mikael, who works as a Grab driver, said he saw it occur multiple times while waiting for his customers. The back entrance is also often used by the staff to exit the restaurant. Mikael claimed that this has been happening for at least over a year now, but he finally caught them in the act last Thursday. He further explained that his intention of sharing this revelation is not to give the restaurant a bad name, but to create awareness among other eateries regarding the consequences of ignoring hygiene and cleanliness in their premises. The matter will be taken to the Health Ministry. Now, it's never a good idea to degrade people just because of how they look. A Fitness First trainer in Singapore learned his lesson the hard way after he was suspended for fat-shaming a woman who ordered an ice cream on Instagram. The incident occurred on November 19th when the man known by his Instagram handle as Super Shah posted an Insta story calling her disgusting. Here's the story. A Facebook user, Geoffrey Danish, shared a screenshot of the offending post along with the trainer's Instagram profile, which describes him as an elite trainer at Fitness First and a bodybuilder. Geoffrey was enraged by the body shaming done by the trainer and had condemned him in the Facebook post. Other enraged netizens then took to Geoffrey's post, criticizing the trainer and said that he was disgusting for secretly taking photos of others and shaming them. With this massive amount of backlash, the man then posted an apology on his Instagram account regarding the matter. However, the apology seems to be too little too late after his employer, Fitness First Singapore, wrote in a Facebook post on the same date that they have suspended him until further notice. The trainer has since deleted his social media accounts and also locked the website that was linked to his Instagram profile since Tuesday. Now remember, we should all think properly before posting stuff like this online, as it is totally unacceptable to humiliate others. Now, updated as of 7 p.m., here are the top 10 topics and searches on the internet today. Now it's time for our My Game On segment, bringing you the latest esports news in Malaysia. Sony Interactive Entertainment has launched the first ever PlayStation Experience Lounge in Southeast Asia. Located at Sunway Pyramid, the Play Everything Lounge will only be available until February 17th, 2019. Our reporter, Wanizul Islam, who attended the media launch recently, has more.
Welcome to Southeast Asia's first ever PlayStation Experience Lounge called the Play Everything Lounge. Now, this place will offer some of the latest gaming titles and where you can play and also experience for the first time. Let's go and check out some of the amazing game titles on display. Let's go. The lounge is the first of its kind in Southeast Asia and is an experiential space designed specifically to appeal to gamers and fans alike. Promising a whole new gaming experience for visitors, the comfortable space with over 10 consoles and a virtual reality set helps deliver the best gaming experience for players of all ages. The Play Everything Lounge will soon host gaming tournaments, community engagement activities, and sneak previews or demos of unreleased game trials.
In the past, we have a kind of just a weekend event in the shopping center mall. We call Play Everything Roadshow. but we would like to set up some fixed venue to provide those experiences a little bit longer term.
So we are hoping we can showcase some of our latest titles here for the first time in Southeast Asia. For example, for products like Kingdom Hearts 3 and PlayStation Classic, we'll have a hands-on experience here, both for media and public.
Among the unreleased game demos on display this weekend are Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice and the much-anticipated Kingdom Hearts 3 on PlayStation 4. Sony promises new upcoming titles for audiences to experience each week, although there's no fixed schedule at the moment to the game titles that will be displayed next. PlayStation fans will also get to try out the PlayStation Classic, a miniature version of the first ever PlayStation console, which will include 20 preloaded games. Among the classic games include Grand Theft Auto, Final Fantasy, Tekken 3, and Metal Gear Solid, and other nostalgic titles. One is Islam, 7 Edition.